Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin for those of you who are new here. So today I'm going to be showing you what are some quick and simple weekly spreads that you guys can include in your bullet journal. All of these are 10 minutes or less except for one. So comment down below which one you think took longer than 10 minutes. I'm curious to see. I loved using these spreads personally when I went to university and I needed something quick to plan out my week. So before I move on, I wanted to say thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. This week I'm gonna shout out some of you guys again. So thank you Kari93RM, Sylvia, Patricia, and Emily. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I will now pass it on to my voiceover. Today I'm going to be showing you 5 different weekly bullet journal ideas, basically how to set up quick and easy spreads for your weeklies in your bullet journal. I love using these when I have a busy week going on and I need to just put something down in my journal really quick. So all of these spreads are going to be around 10 minutes. One of them is over, but all of the other ones are under. Again, everything that I use is going to be linked in the description box down below. For this page, I loved using, of course, my classic Micron 05 pen, and then I used the 50-pack Crayola in this golden yellow color just to create all of the boxes and then the June header at the top. This is just a 2-page weekly spread, but you can always condense things down into 1-page weekly spreads for your bullet journal if you find that you're having a lot less stuff going on in the week. I love minimalistic bullet journal spreads. I find that they are very functional for my weeklies, but also make sure that I'm being productive and mindful. On this page here, you'll see that I'm just doodling in right now the weekly tasks. On every single one of my weekly spreads, I've included something a little bit different, and I'll show you that throughout so you can change up the bullet journal spreads to fit whatever works best for you. If you want to keep track of things like meals, you're able to put that and maybe replace the weekly tasks. Or if you want to have something like habits you need to track, or maybe a 1 line a day, those could also go into your bullet journal as well. Moving on to the second easy weekly spread for beginners, I'm just going to come in here with my Tombow pen in the color 942. It is a go-to along with this bouncy letter style that I'm doing here. When you are creating a schedule in your journal, you want to include things that are going to work best for you. So one thing that I love to do is this bouncy letter. It's just something quick and easy for me, but when you're creating a weekly plan in your bullet journal, maybe you have a different lettering style that you like to go to and use as your constant one. On the side here, I am just including these little boxes and putting out goals for the week, as well as a little box for things that are going to be happening next week. I like to use this when I have a really busy next week upcoming and I want to make sure that I keep track and be mindful of what's going to come. On the side, you can see I'm just ending up filling in some spaces with this line drawing. I've seen this is really popular actually online. A lot of people that I follow on Instagram have incorporated this in May themes, so I've pulled some inspiration from them. I'll have their Instagrams linked down below, so if you guys do want to find similar inspiration, you're able to do that. Basically, when I create weekly spreads, Instagram is a great place to look and get some inspiration, so I suggest if you are a beginner to bullet journaling, that is something that you do as well. I'm just coming in here with a light gray color for the Tombow to make this weekly a bit more functional, so it divides the different sections of the day. Moving on to number 3 in how to create weekly plan for your bullet journal. This one is honestly, I think, my favorite out of all of them. I use this color from the Crayola pack that I've been using in my June setup, so if you hadn't seen that, I'll link that up in the cards as well as in the description box down below. But this is something that I found that can help me bullet journal in less time, is to find an accent color, then just go over top of it with a pen of some sort. So here you can see I'm using my Micron 05 pen and then the color from a Crayola box. I ended up going and putting a calendar in the top left corner here. This always gives you a good overview of a monthly spread or what is going to be coming in the future. My go-to simple daily bullet journal spreads include drop shadows for everything. So you'll see here I am adding in a drop shadow just behind every single one of these gray blocks. I end up going back in and writing Monday to Sunday on all of these. One tip that I would suggest that you do, if you're trying to get the pen to show up a bit better on darker colors, go in first with your white gel pen. I'm using the Jelly Roll pen here, and then go over top of it with that black lettering. It's going to provide you a white background for that dark pen to sit on top of, and you're going to be able to see it just a little bit better. Number 4 out of the 5 different weekly spreads that I'm going to be showing you today is one of the most simpler looking ones in the sense that I just ended up using a black and white. So if that is your vibe that you like to use in your bullet journal and stick to this more minimalistic look, this would be the perfect weekly spread for you. One tip that I have if you're trying to create circles, you'll see here that I just ended up going in with a washi tape. I ended up drawing in the inside of that, but if you wanted bigger circles, you could always use something a little bit larger, but that way you don't have to buy something like a circle maker. What are those things called? I'm not sure. And then you can just use different sized circled objects around your house to make the size that you desire in your bullet journal. I ended up switching up the lettering that I used in this spread just to make it a bit more of a printed out or typewriter font. And then I ended up dividing the weekly into events and tasks. So if you have things like people's birthdays or a test, when I was a student, this was something that I ended up doing for my layouts the most, because if I had an event like an exam or maybe a quiz, I'd like to put that up at the top so I know what's coming up in the week and I don't forget it. This is a very simple way to help organize your thoughts and make you more productive when you're using your bullet journal. Over top of the black circles, I went in with my jelly pen, and then you could also use things like washi tape just to finish off the week. The last spread that I am showing you is probably the most minimalistic out of all of them, in the sense that it is a rolling weekly. If you haven't heard of what a rolling weekly is, basically you write down everything that you want to get done for the day, like a to-do list. And then when you're finished it, you check it off. And then if it isn't checked off by the end of the day, well, it's there for the next day for you to keep on going. This is something that I like to do when I have a week that is just a little bit less, have a one-page spread in my bullet journal. And then on the right page here, I ended up doing things like weekly. If I had a specific day I needed to do something, you could write that down. And then meal ideas and groceries to go pick up. Just remember that any of these spreads that I have shown you are interchangeable. So if you would rather count your meals on one of the spreads that I showed you earlier instead of something like a memories or a weekly task, you can always incorporate those as well in those earlier spreads. That is really it on how to create quick and easy weekly spreads in your bullet journal. These are great spreads for beginners, and here is just a flip through of what we did today. Well, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below. It really does help support my channel grow. And if you guys have any suggestions for next week's content or anything in the future that you guys want to see, let me know down there as well. I'll see you next time. Bye!